Hello, everybody. Welcome to Waffle Talk. We just watched Dice Camera Action, episode 104. And I've got a crack team of experts here to talk about it. So, anybody in the chat, I got my eyeballs on it. If you got questions or comments, go ahead and
Same.
post them, and we'll address them as quick as we can. Hello, Scotty Jeanette. Hello, Adol. Welcome. So, can anybody summarize? I really like this episode. Can anybody really summarize what happened, Shauna? Can you?
I can, give the easy thing. Continuation from last episode, there were things coming in from the basement. So the Waffle crew basically cut things short. We're basically caught in like the world's worst base defense thing, where this like things came off from they were like trash monsters, trolls with like a Xanathar set, and what was it? Noxer, the dwarf was there, and he was trying to behave in front of his boss. The kids were upstairs, although they did try to escape, which they did. And during the fight, Nat fell and almost died. So there's almost one child. There was a big explosion, and the Tulip, the tiefling orphan that was basically mind controlled by the Xanathar, also died. To stop it, Diaz basically threatened for this to turn back, and basically he wanted to act as a double, triple, maybe quadruple agent, basically to get them off their back. Which basically means he's at the end of it, he wants to work with the Zentarum to, maybe stop the Xanathar. And there's a lot of exchange informations about the Stone of Galore which has showed up, and I have no idea actually where that thing is. So at the end, it's still the Waffle crew and the Ego crew still. They're all still okay. The Narai, the special guest, basically gave them talking down, telling them you basically should get these kids to a safer place and not keep them here, and then took the dead body of Tulip with her. So at the things end, they decide maybe the now probably condemnable like Waffle House after that fight, there's not much left. And they decide maybe trying Sanctuary in Lathander's Temple would be a good idea. And that's pretty much where we ended.
Potential foreclosure in the future.
That thing is no good anymore.
Yeah,
the whole inside, like the tap room, is completely destroyed now.
It's the floors are bad. There's a stairwell missing.
There's
there are
like
traps
3
everywhere in the house.
3 floors. We've got the basement, we've got the tap room, and then we've got that hole that happened with the first explosion. So it's like just a straight drop.
Yeah.
you just make one really tall room now. It's great.
Yeah, it's really tall.
Oh, it's just like, oh.
Like, I think Strix first blew up the tower part, and
Mhm.
then she dropped a fireball in the tap room, and then the beholders disintegrated a hole in the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then this episode, the trolls with barrels of smoke powder, do I have that right, strapped to their back, got hit with fiery stuff and blew up. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
those were like kamikaze trolls? Is that the deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they want to get up. But yeah, that's a second explosion in that basement. So that basement is actually fairly tough.
All that tells me is our gift friend is going to have a heyday.
The gunpowder. Yeah, Warrington
Yeah.
Mike. Come
Oh my
on.
gosh, yes.
Yeah, maybe
Bring
next
him
time
back.
they need some help.
We need to start a movement.
Bring back Warrington.
Yeah, come on. He would have loved that gunpowder stuff. Let's see. Bad 007. I feel like Perkins has just been trying to get them out of the
It's
house.
true.
It's
Yeah,
true.
You think
yeah.
so? Why?
It seems that way. I don't know.
Why would he
It's
want
safe.
to?
I don't know, man.
It's safe for them. He doesn't like them being, happy and safe.
Got to make the safe place not safe anymore.
I think it's cool. Like, they can put all their stuff in there and
Exactly.
the trophies.
I freaking love home bases, and like, even if they have like a safe place they can put their stuff, like it doesn't mean they're not gonna have trouble still.
Yeah.
Like, like not even just combat. Like we got this episode where things just blow up their house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The whole Lathander schism thing and role playing bull crap that they can't just,
Mhm.
or the Megara thing,
hmm
stuff like that. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Adolf,
feel like it would open up a lot of opportunities for the DM too. Like if they start hoarding their stuff, like they don't take everything. They don't take all their magic items.
It's true.
So you can, it's like they could have used that.
All right, Adolf says they have too many loose ends to be safe, and Cactus Mongrel says can't have anything nice for too long. Get rid of it before the audience can become attached. To me, maybe Chris is just running it like logically, like
Mhm.
just do what the bad guys would do, and if a house gets wrecked, it would. But to me, like those smoke barrels, Chris had room to decide how much damage they did, right? And he purposely did not destroy the total house. So
Mhm.
True.
I mean,
it's kind of like,
yeah.
what are we doing? You know, like what's
Yeah.
going on here? You know what I mean?
maybe once like the Ego crew is done, because I think that's the main thing why they're not staying there. It's like this is not
Mhm,
place for these kids, and
mhm.
you go from basically 4 to 3, so maybe you don't want to lose a few of them.
Yeah, I no, none of you want to see the house go, right?
No, I love the house.
Yeah, we all like it, right?
I like the house, yeah.
It's fun, and I mean, if this house gets destroyed, they're just gonna they're gonna have to go somewhere else.
Where are they going to go? They have
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
here's-
eventually our bard might get that mansion thing. I don't know what level that comes in at though.
every day.
what do you
Oh,
mean
I see.
the mansion?
Mordenkainen's magnificent
Oh.
mansion.
Yeah.
That one.
I see.
Yep.
I was thinking maybe he wants them to move in with Evelyn's family compound. Because
Oh,
I think
God.
Yes.
there's a bunch of story stuff with Evelyn's family. Maybe Chris wants to get to it. That would be
Yeah.
a way to get them in.
yeah, I'm wondering how this is going to be paced. Considering, did you guys see the Chris's tweet how long the season is?
Yeah,
Very.
60 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's twice
That
the
gives
length
him-
of a normal one.
hmm
I think maybe it's because he's going to do 30 on Dragon Heist and then 30 on the Mad Mage adventure.
hmm
Maybe.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's long. It's weird.
Because it seems like in where they are now, they're kind of like not fighting things at their level. They're kind of fighting things that are kind of like at their level or slightly below their level at this point.
And that means that we have a full year of Waterdeep
Mhm.
in store. More than a year.
Yeah, like
and I guess at that, so maybe that means that's when the next adventure is coming out. It's in 1 year.
I guess that fits better because like there
Makes
is
sense.
that spot where like Tomb ends, and then there's kind of nothing. You can kind of fit cleanly into whatever the next thing is.
All right, I already missed a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see. Not Nazca. Nazca have a house pretty soon. Nazca was back. I kind of like Nazca. What do you guys think?
I hate him,
Yeah,
but in that way that you hate that one character, that
Mhm.
it's like you're important for reasons, but I hate you.
You hate him. I just thought it was funny how Evelyn was like trying to be sly, like you're such a
That was
horrible. I don't really get Nazca. Is he a doofus or is he creepy or I mean like what's his deal?
I think he's just like I think how he was acting in the first time they met him was probably how he acts. Like he's still like he likes Evelyn and stuff like that. But I think he's just like he's feeling the pressure of Xanathar stuff, so he has to like kind of like play the part because he's probably
He's
just
gonna
trying.
get disintegrated.
Yeah, he's just trying to play both sides at this point, trying to like just survive.
The crossbow hand at this point, like to me, that's like a really cool thing, but it kind of doesn't fit his personality at this point. It's
Yeah.
kind of like you expect him to accidentally shoot himself or something. 'Cause he's such a weird, he's like a weird creep.
Mhm.
I like him though.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Nazca. Bad 007. I feel like he keeps throwing things at them faster than they have a chance to recall the other things they want to follow up with. Yeah, Ramrod gives us bit. Thank you, Ramrod, very much. That is awesome. And Aya makes a good point. This is what I was thinking about. Aya says, please add arcane locks. I think if they're going to stay there, they should definitely be using
Yes.
spells
We
like
need something.
Lord, please.
Like there's arcane lock. right?
Yeah.
And then there's guards and wards, I think it is. And
Yes.
It's an epic spell to protect your house.
You can do anything with that. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. And then glyphs of warding, the old classic. It's kind of like they could turn their house into a dungeon almost, you know? Just
Mhm.
put like a trap and a monster in every room, you know?
Yes.
They already have one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
That's
maybe
true.
yeah. Simon has left.
What should they do with the hole in the basement though? They have a tunnel in there that bad guys can get into.
Direct to the sewers.
I don't know.
See, if they just close it up again, the beholders could just disintegrate another tunnel through. So,
They could install a door, right?
Mhm.
And put glyph of warding on it and alarm, I think.
Mhm.
And that way, if the door is open, the alarm spell will go off and they can be magically notified, maybe.
Yeah, maybe further down into the tunnel, maybe.
I'm wondering if they're gonna use that to reach Skullport and Undermountain stuff, because I mean it's all down there, and if the Xanthar's goons came up through it, it must be relatively close-ish.
Yeah.
Cactus Mongrel. What if the Ego crew is a way for Perkins to set up a campaign 2 when the Waffle crew gets too high level for the set campaigns? I would say it's possible, but I think those characters were created by and named by somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the players wouldn't mind running those characters, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's something that they kind of have to be careful around, like keep safe. And it kind of like puts them in a position where they can't just like do their usual thing of just like explode everything. So they have kids basically. They have to make sure they don't die.
Escort side quest.
And they walk too slow, and you're on your mountain. You're like, come on, I just want to finish the quest.
I really like them though. They're really cool. All of them.
I'm so happy Nat didn't die.
Oh God, yeah.
I was gonna break down.
I was panicking in the chat, like, revivify.
That was really funny. That part. I actually clipped that part.
Oh, is it Anna was in charge of saving her own character with her other character.
Yeah.
They did a good job with like kind of cutting between the different characters. Like that flowed really well considering like it can confuse me. It's like, is Holly playing Strix or is she playing, you know, this person like that?
It's weird to run 2 parties at the same time. That's like when I was a kid, when I first started playing, we all had 2 characters, but like they were the same level and we ran them all at once. But it's weird. It's like I kind of wonder if we're gonna have an episode where, like, say if somebody dies and they can't be resurrected right away, if like Jenks would fill in for Strix for a few episodes, which I think Jenks is hilarious, so I would love to see that.
It reminds me of the old school way of playing D&D. Like Mordenkainen had like Bigby and Rigby and all those other characters that Gary Gygax could like pull in and use. I don't know how much like back then they like role played between characters that you controlled yourself like that. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Well, from what I understand, it was like it was more mathy, but there was still role playing, you know. I think as a player, like as a kid, even if you didn't role play, you kind of quickly become attached to those characters, and in your head it kind of grows, you know. Like in before you know, a lot of people like will daydream about their character, especially when you first start playing. So in the beginning, while they might just be a pile of numbers, once they go through a harrowing experience, you know, it becomes a thing, you know, and like you become attached to them. So you know, because a lot of them have joke names. Like there was Bigby, Rigby, Digby, Zigby. You know, just like Sigby, Grigbyson or something like that. Like, and you know, those are just goofy joke names. And he had 2 dragons named Gorky and Porky. But like over time, you know, it became a thing. You know, it's like I have 2 dragons. You know, at my disposal, and it's just like, you know, and now it's Mordenkainen. You know, it's Mordenkainen.
Yeah.
So it's a
big man.
Yeah. You know, I'm way behind here. Sorry, everybody. Let's see. Rowdy Sniper, hello. How are you? My bet's on Nate playing Mason, the pirate captain they rescued in the last episode. Is that from another show?
Oh, that was in Birdcage. That's a character that has been unconscious for 2 episodes.
Really? That's
That'd
interesting.
be
know.
clever.
Waffles hasn't been very good home security so far.
Eh,
I think that's
She's
more
in
just.
her den most of the time.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think part of that is more they don't want to put Waffles in harm's way, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they're more focused on keeping Waffles safe rather than risking, because people drop like this,
Yeah.
on dice camera.
Gotta
Oh,
be
yeah.
careful when you sick your pet on somebody.
Yeah, just don't just keep them safe.
I'm glad that Waffles listens to the children now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. All
For she to eat them.
right, they do have official. So Cactus Mongrel, are Nat, Jenks, and Squidly a part of Dragon Heist? I don't think so, but it could be.
I mean,
NPCs maybe.
There was
they
art.
have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mhm.
Like,
And Anna did say they were like characters already, like pre-gens. So I don't know. I
didn't
assume.
they say that they're each enemy in Dragon Heist is based off of a different season and a different event?
Yep.
So what if these are just the kids that are like running around with the troll masks on or something?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was art, and
Mhm.
there was a whole thing that they could just be NPCs from Dragon Heist. I wonder if Troll Tide is in Dragon Heist. Probably,
It is.
right?
It is, yeah.
It is. Yep.
Because of the seasons and all that stuff.
Chris specifically mentioned it. I think in the Xanathar thing for D&D Beyond. He was
Mhm.
like, "Yeah,
Oh, he did?
hmm
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so the kids so now towards the end, Sister Nirai was kind of talking to them about the kids
Mhm.
and suggesting that maybe the kids shouldn't be here at all. And I was wondering if that was a way to kind of maybe because I don't think Diath knows about the incident a few episodes ago. I was kind of wondering if that was gonna come out at that point, but it didn't.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering now if maybe it's just gonna go dormant, that topic.
it's possible."
Yeah.
They really don't want DF to know about it.
No,
So,
they don't. Mm-mm.
It's gonna come out at the worst time.
of course
Of
it is.
course.
It always does when you keep stuff like that. Ugh.
this is so much that Chris could do with it.
Yeah.
Also, the fourth wall breaking has kind of hit a new plateau here, where to me it was always like when Paulton would mention something from the real world, I assumed the other characters couldn't hear it or whatever.
Mhm.
But in this time, Evelyn pulled him aside and asked him about Perkins,
Yeah.
his god, and it was like, okay, now it's getting weird.
Yeah.
He's mentioned Hokage in relation to DF many times.
Yeah.
And every time DF was like,
It would be interesting for them if Paulton was like with the acquisition thing, because they know who Chris Perkins is. They've met him.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
Cactus Mongrel says, did anyone else notice when Brooks said 16th level monk, as in Sister Nirai was 16th level,
Mhm.
and also adding in the Eldritch Blast? Is he a multi-class? Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like
Shadow
you were
Step
both
and-
monks. Is that like one of the subclasses you can get at that, or is it just multi-classing?
I don't know.
I think it was Way of Shadow. And then there was also the whole Raven thing later that was mentioned. It makes me want a Hexblade Warlock. Yes. Maybe.
I mean, yeah, possibly.
And she
That
brought
might
up
be
the
just
Ring of
my
Winter.
wishful thinking, though. So
It's possible. She brought up the Ring of Winter too,
Mhm.
which
True.
Yeah,
I was very happy about.
Yeah.
that was weird. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
what does that mean?
But yeah, they were looking for it, so I guess that would make sense. I guess that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
But
true.
I wonder why Chris would specifically bring his interim person on as a guest star and
Mhm.
have them drop that on them.
Oh, guess what else is with the Ring of Winter when we left?
The
doll.
Strahd
no.
doll.
Yeah.
one shamble doll.
Mhm.
Oh no.
All that stuff is together.
We will.
We will.
There's like a really good chance that Strahd has the Ring of Winter.
I mean,
There's a really good chance it's true.
I just like the idea of Miranda having it.
yeah, anything.
Well, yeah,
Ah.
she does. I feel like Miranda will be back. She's the unkillable,
definitely.
guest star. You know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
It makes sense that she would turn against the group. Should be scared of her because she can't die,
Yeah.
Mhm.
no matter what Chris did. She survived. It was amazing. It was like 6 episodes. It's crazy.
hmm
Yeah, but like, okay, so they want the Ring of Winter.
hmm
So,
Hmm.
but it's like it's weird that I mean, it totally makes sense now that you mention it because the Zenorum had been, chasing kind of when they were both taking boats to Waterdeep.
Yeah.
And that
We've
was
been-
so that totally 100% makes sense. But it's like, okay, well, sometimes it's like I wonder. It's weird. It's actually kind of weird to guess at what the DM is doing.
Mhm.
You should just kind of sit back and enjoy the show. But for me, it's fun. Also,
Yeah, same.
to try to
Yeah.
guess.
As a DM.
Yeah.
As a DM, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because you can kind
like-
of observe what he's doing and learn. I
Mhm.
enjoy doing that and seeing because he's very unpredictable. So most of the time, if you guess something, it's like you're not gonna get it. But
Yeah.
in this case, it's like it's weird. The topic of the Ring of Winter is so off from where we are. It's just like jarring when it gets brought up, but it makes perfect sense. So to me, it's like, okay, so did Chris do this just because it's a logical thing, that makes sense? This should happen, so we're gonna
Mhm.
do it, or is he doing that because he's like, oh, I'm gonna do this with the Ring of Winter later, so let's get this going now, and I'm like, oh, okay, So I always wonder how much is planned and how much is just throw it in there and whatever develops go from there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun, and I would bet it's probably a mix of both
Mhm.
things.
I mean, at its most minimal, at this point, it would just be to remind him that that thing's still out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
it can lead up to like I guess if things go that way to reintroduce that at some point.
This was the first time like I write recaps of these things, and so for the wiki, I actually did the wiki while I watched this one. So it was so weird. I'm doing the wiki and like Ring of Winter, so I'm like, I make the little link to it. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to go back to the Ring of Winter page, like, and maybe add a note to it. It's like such a weird thing, It's like we're done
Yeah.
with that, aren't we? No, we're not.
We're not done with anything ever.
None of the loose ends have been tied.
None of the big things.
Not a
Just
single
making
one.
more of them.
The only thing that I
This
think
rope is unraveling, and we thought there was.
I think the only thing that they actually like solved was the death curse. Like the fire thing's still out there. Strahd's still out there.
Yeah,
A lot of things that are still out there.
Yeah, Mygara's still out there. Strahd is still. You're right. You're right. They leave a lot of loose ends.
Oh,
everywhere they go.
Jeez, if they're just doing Dragon Heist and Dungeon of the Mad Mage this season, when are they going to fit in the Megara stuff?
Yeah, it's a good
Because
question.
they have to take care of that at some point very soon.
I thought that's how they were fitting in the Dragon Heist stuff, like with the gold and the dwarves.
Yeah. I don't think it's their thing to like. I don't think they're in a position to stop it. I think it might just have to be the dwarves do it themselves.
Oh Lord.
Well,
maybe that's why they need all this gold.
The Mygara thing is like they could have some bad guys somehow lure Mygara to Waterdeep.
Oh
That
yeah.
would be one thing that could happen, right?
Is
Mygara could just come there on its own.
like how far is that where they left that to where Waterdeep is? That's fairly far.
It was far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like far north and east. So
yeah, it's over by the Anarok Desert, so it's like
it's got a
opposite
while.
side
It's got
of, but it's been a couple months, so who knows how far it's.
I mean, I guess they would hear of like giant fire primordial just walking across Faerun, I guess.
How fast does a giant fire primordial move?
And almost at any time, Chris could just say a few months pass, right?
Yeah.
So it could really happen almost any time.
The Shadowfell. Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, Shemeska wants her stuff back. Whoops. Hey.
It's been a few months.
I'm kind of guessing that the Shemeska stuff might be on hold for a while, unless they decide to use a key, until the Dungeon of the Mage, because apparently a lot of the levels are linked to different planes.
Mhm.
So maybe that's when the planar stuff will kind of kick back in. I don't know. Maybe they have to do a thing where they go to try to steal DS Soul.
I know,
They
right?
have to.
Yeah.
They have to.
Now that they know it's in the happy box.
That would,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be like the best adventure. You know, it's just
God, that'd be
like,
so weird.
it would be
Shemeska's house.
huge thing. And I feel like it shouldn't just be one session. It should be like 7, of the whole.
Oh God, another Iron
Yeah.
Flag.
The whole thing. You got to go to the city of Sigil, and you got to get to the house. You got to break in, and creep around. And there's probably something weird going on with the box.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Something I'd really think would be cool though is maybe have like help from like birdcage people in there, because they're all like thieves and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
I mean, they'd be older though, because it's like 20 years later. But Strix
Yeah,
knows
but-
some of them.
There is a Warforged among them,
Mhm.
and I don't know how long they tend to last.
Oh, that's I think a while.
I'm trying to remember the makeup of the group. Oh no,
Well,
it's been too long.
Nejma is an elf.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but the other 2 are humans.
So they may or may not.
But they're young. I mean, they're fairly young.
Yeah.
Drink a couple potions of longevity or whatever.
I mean, they could be in jail
Sure.
forever, so who knows?
The innkeep who runs the place right over Shemeshka's gambling hall drinks a bunch of
Mhm.
potions of longevity. So
Hey,
there's a lot.
Oh gosh, what are they called? The
I should-
can't remember the name. This kind of the secret faction that is obsessed with keeping them. It starts with an I, I think.
Yeah, the Incanterium.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
I think, yeah.
and
yeah.
yeah, they're secretly like immortal or trying to be immortal. So
Yeah,
maybe some of those heroes from Birdcage get wrapped up with that, and that's
it's
how they-
possible.
I mean, although 20 years older, the characters are probably only like 20 something anyway.
Yeah.
So they just
Some of
get
those
wordy.
don't have great survival instinct.
Well, that goes for all D&D characters.
Yeah, especially.
The life of the adventurer.
Yes, that is true, everyone.
Or maybe they get
Things are trash.
frozen or something. Oh, you know what? If they spent that time in the astral plane, you don't age in the astral plane. So yeah, that's one way to work around that. I guess if they want, that would be really cool to do a whole season of Trapped in the Birdcage, where their job is to bust in and steal Diath's soul shard. That would be really cool.
I just want more Planescape stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop teasing me, Chris Perkins.
Give me all the lore, please.
Or I mean, you could do it with Hell's
I'm
Bells.
still
too,
new.
We
Yeah.
You know, you could do that.
maybe.
You
That would
guys
be
are
crazy.
rocking through that adventure. It's amazing.
Oh, rocking. Ooh.
No, you guys. I mean, it's amazing to me that Maz is able to run each of those chapters in one session,
Mhm.
and it tied up so nice. It's like,
Yeah.
dang.
2 hours for 7 people. It's really
Yeah,
intense.
it's epic. You guys. Well, I don't want to talk too much about it. The Beastlands is a plane that I've always had kind of a love-hate relationship with because it's just so weird.
Mhm.
I just don't like normal animals in D&D. I just don't like it. But
Is it because people make you do the voices like for them?
Yeah. It's true.
That has to
That's
be
every
why.
DM's thing is like, please don't make me do the animal voice.
yeah, like a rooster or something. Yeah, I would just quit.
Here's this giraffe. What does this giraffe sound like, DM?
What does
They don't
giraffe
have
sound
vocal
like?
cords.
They don't?
This is the rare
I
mute
think
giraffe.
they're
Do giraffes make any noises at all? I don't even
I
know.
don't know. I've just
don't
heard that
know.
their
Just like
vocal
have to give an
cords
animal that's
break
like,
when-
All right, I fell behind again. Rowdy Sniper. I mean, if you were a criminal organization, the Ring of Winter would be a great way to get rid of your enemies. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a
It
very
is-
powerful item. Very
I mean, for a criminal thing, that is maybe a little too dangerous to be like, have this thing. Seems
I'm
like a weird case
wondering-
after. Yeah.
Because Manchun is like a super powerful archmage.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like he wants it
Yeah.
for
but
some reason specifically.
I keep thinking like a mage of that level is just like, doesn't need it, I guess.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, like wondering like why would they? Well, what's the other than it being powerful? Why would they want it? It's evil.
Cactus Mongrel says that. Is this true? Strix still has the iron flask. Is that true?
Someone
I
has the
I think
flask.
so. Yeah.
I think, and I'm not absolutely sure, but I think most of what she had was thrown away when she just threw everything at Strahd.
Hmm.
And Chris just took it as like, you don't have any of your magic items anymore.
Really? She threw everything at Strahd?
Yeah.
I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about the Iron Flask is like, I had actually thrown it in my Planescape campaign, and once the group got it, they used it all the time, and that's a very powerful item.
Okay.
So you have a bad guy. As soon as they run into the bad guy, they're just like, boink, you know, you're in the flask. You know,
It's like
Have
your
freaking Igwilv in it.
Igwilv.
yeah.
You know? Igwilv. Oh, okay. All right. Well, great. That's
Are you
All right.
Nope. Inside the box.
neat. And so,
I'm out.
yeah, it's just like it can really mess with your campaign. But
Yeah.
this group is not like that. They're not. They're you know, they're suboptimal, but they don't take items like that and go nuts like in that way with them.
Mhm.
I sometimes feel like they choose to do things just because it's fun.
Yeah.
Even if it will hurt them.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really cool way to play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you throw a magical loot at a dragon turtle and it's never seen again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I was so shocked by his reaction to that. I didn't expect Paulton to care.
Because yeah, if you're a bard, you want to hang on to that thing. That thing is super good as a bard.
But it was like he never used it.
Yeah.
You know.
Like the sense.
So it's like the Sun Sword. Yeah.
He use the mandolin a lot. He would fly. He cast fairy fire on it.
He did?
All the sorts.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He got rid of it because he thought he was sacrificing it for the rest of the party.
Adol says that the Broken Dwarf statue and the Iron Flask are like the forgotten items.
Oh no.
Now the statue,
That was
somebody had said that got left in the Shadowfell. Is that
Oh,
true?
that poor dwarf.
I don't know.
Oh, that poor dwarf.
No one even decided to actually cast mending on the poor thing.
Yeah.
No one sees not a statue, but a dwarf. That's really sad.
Maybe like Strahd and all them are there. Maybe eventually they'll go back and get that if they maybe they want to question the dwarf or something. I don't know. You know?
Maybe. Or
Someone-
it's gonna be like Minsk, where he just gets turned into a statue and stands there for like 200 years.
Yeah. It's like
Maybe.
God.
Let's see here. Rocking. What is the lore for Warforged outside of Eberron?
I'm
Don't know.
Well, technically, there's not any like official lore, really.
yeah.
I think they
Yet.
are
Yeah, that's
from
true.
Eberron and they've spread through the plains, I guess. Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I suppose I think in the 3.5 Monster Manual 3 there was like a little lore section for adding them to like the Forgotten Realms and stuff, but I don't remember that very well. I just remember House Caneth and all that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Aya will make me do all the voices. Please don't.
Please do, Aya.
It's too
Please.
late.
Make
She's
him do
already
the
been
emo
doing it.
hamster.
The worst thing ever is when players try to get you to role. For me, when they try to get me to role play two NPCs talking to each other, so awkward, you know. And once they see that it's like awkward for me, they start trolling me, you know.
'Cause players are monsters.
They just kind of
You know.
step back and they're like, you know, try to get them talking, you know. It's like,
No, you give them one.
Demogorgon is so good.
yeah, that's true.
Yes.
True.
Warforged, says Cactus Mongrel, are just made by wizards to fulfill a need. I don't know. I don't know.
So they're constructs.
I've always stayed away from Eberron so that I can play in it, and I don't want to know anything unless I experience it through the game. You know, so I don't know much. And, you know, it's funny. I've been playing an Eberron campaign for a few years, and I still don't really know much about it. So it's nice. You know, it's fun to keep it fresh. You know, for me.
Yeah, have something that you don't know a lot about.
Yeah, like Dark Sun. I don't really know a lot about Dark Sun.
Dark Sun, yes.
Or Birthright, or
Oh,
Red Steel, or the Horde. Let's see. I know a lot about Alchemy. I love Alchemy. I wish more people would give it a try. But you know, there's only so much time.
Yeah.
I'm just learning all of these new places, and I'm
I
like,
don't know. I'm same with some of those. I'm like,
really?
I don't know what some of these are.
I don't know Red Steel, but I know the rest.
I knew the Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk when I started. That's all I knew.
All right.
No, there's so much. I mean, it's like there's just so much out there. It's so hard to,
Yeah.
you know. I
Mhm.
mean, like I read the Dragonlance books a long time ago, but I
Mhm.
mean, I don't remember much of anything from it. You know, it's hard. It would be hard to keep up. I would love to meet somebody who's read like all of the Forgotten Realms books
I
and
don't
knows
know. That's a
everything.
lot of books.
Man,
Yeah, I mean, has anybody done
I
that?
don't think any.
I don't
There's
think
had to
even
be.
Ed
There has to
Greenwood
be
has
somebody.
done that.
There has to be somebody that's done it.
I know
Jeez.
that on Matt Cernit, who does the Lore You Should Know stuff with
Mhm.
Chris Perkins, I believe he's read a lot of them, and I think he said on one show that pretty much nobody has read all of them.
It's a lot of
So,
books.
but I know that there's the Candlekeep forum,
Yeah.
which is like a
Mhm.
hardcore Forgotten Realms forum that Ed Greenwood posts on. Those people would probably know more than most.
I mean,
would-
collectively, probably. Yeah.
I would bet between them they've all read all of them and they know a ton of stuff. But
Mhm.
as far as I understand, some of the authors don't really read all, so there's probably a lot of contradictory information in the different
Mhm.
novels, and so I would imagine it'd be really hard to put everything in there, especially if there's just one book that's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
do you have to count it? You know, is this canon? Yeah,
Yeah.
The
They don't have.
Forgotten of the Forgotten.
like like there's the Greyhawk book novels. Gary Gygax wrote a bunch about Gord the Rogue, and then Rose Estes, who wrote those Choose Your Own Adventure books that I love. But she
Mhm.
wrote some Greyhawk books that were like about a barbarian who it didn't just have much of anything to do with Greyhawk.
Mhm.
It's like, do those count? You know, I don't know, it's getting weird. The novels are always weird to me. It's like, do these count? What counts?
Yeah.
I don't want to
Mhm.
read something that doesn't count. You know.
That's why I always appreciated Keith Baker with the Eberron novels. He was always like, "Well, this is one like version of events. You're the DM. Do whatever you want with Eberron, dude.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's up to you, man."
Like that was a thing. I don't know. Way back when Dragonlance the books came out and they were super popular, and they
Mhm.
made adventures, published adventures. But in those adventures, you're supposed to run the characters from the novel in the game, and people just don't want to do that. And they're expecting the characters to do what the people in the book did, and nobody wanted to do that either. So I ran the first books 1 through 4 of the Chronicles, and everybody made their own characters. And my brother
Mhm.
made this like really goofy, dated character, and my other friends did too. And it was just the weirdest thing because the adventure was expecting you to
Yeah.
drive people, to railroad them, or
Yeah.
whatever, and it just doesn't. People do want to play Raceland though. And you know what?
Mhm.
Actually, we should talk about. I know this is off topic, but Mike Merles wrote a thing on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw this about railroading.
Yes. I saw. Yeah.
Okay, so he
I
said
didn't read the whole thread, but
I would like to hear your thoughts on this. He said that railroading gets a bad rap, and that he's played in games that are complete sandboxes and there's no direction at all, and that he hated them.
Mhm.
And so so what do you guys think about that?
running Tomb of Annihilation, my group is going, like, they have right now a set goal in mind, and that's to get to Kirsabal. But for a few sessions, I just had no idea what they would do at all. And as a DM, that was stressful because it's like they had the whole map. Not that they could see the whole map, but there's the whole map that they could go to.
Mhm.
And just depending on which direction they decided to go, would set not even just an idea in motion, and that was fine. But I felt like I had to give them a few options.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, you can go this way to that, this way to that, and this way to that. But so I feel like it's less of a whole sandbox and more of like a railroad that you just choose which way you start.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then we'll go from
the
there.
Tomb of Annihilation jungle map, right?
Hmm.
If you just plopped it on the table and you're like, all right, where do you want to go?
Like
That requires so much preparation by the DM That means you have to know the whole jungle section. You have to be ready to run the whole jungle section at once. And then the horrible part is you do all that preparing, and then like they might just go into the ocean. Like they just sail off the map. And all that preparation you did is for nothing.
Yeah.
We
bought this boat. We're gonna go into the harbor with this for this episode. It's like, but there's like, we want a boat.
They have a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
go ahead.
I think doing like plot hooks and stuff is definitely a big plus. You definitely need to do that whenever you're running a sandbox or a railroad or whatever. I think low-level parties, it's fine to railroad a little bit, like because you're getting into the groove of like people playing new characters, and you want them to be able to explore those characters in specific situations and stuff. And you can get like player input. Go for it. That's great. But I think as you get like to higher levels, like past 10, especially past like 15, when they're way up there, I think at that point the players really need like some initiative to go do things they want to do. And if they can tell the DM beforehand, hey, I want to do XYZ, and the DM can prep for that, it's like, oh, thank God, yes, we can totally do that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But when I don't know, when they don't tell you and you come to a session and then you sit there for an hour trying to figure out what to do, and it's like,
huh?
Yeah.
Should we do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's as long as there's enough time for me, at least for everyone to kind of like have their own like piece for it, like a little like moment to like do RP or something like that. Like I think at least as far as I know that the Great Mole Gem March, we're kind of adhering fairly close to it, but I mean it never feels like it's railroady because we have like there's like situations where we kind of get our little like what do you want to do here, because I don't know how we would do with like some people trying to figure out what just here's a sandbox of this thing and we have an hour, like what are we going to do? Because I notice that it happens sometimes with like Critical Role and stuff like that, where they'll give them and it just ends up being like a playing session or a deciding session for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It can be kind of painful.
Ouch.
Yeah, I mean as a player I like having guidance, kind of like something like to go toward, because otherwise you just kind of like Sandbox is good sometimes, but sometimes you just end up just like grabbing a piece of sand, looking at it, putting it down, grabbing it, putting it down, because you're like, I don't know what to do.
That was something that kept me from running Planescape for like a decade. Like as a DM, just how wide open it all seemed. And I was like, how do I run this?
Yeah.
How do I present this to players in a satisfactory way?
The worst thing like about sandboxes is I had a friend who would play in this game that some guy ran, and I would ask, I like to hear stories about people's games, so I would always ask him, what did you do? How was it? And it was one of those sandbox games where it's like you're in a city, and he would give out XP, like the tiniest bit of XP. So they played for like weekly for like 3 years, and they hit like 3rd level. I was just like, how are you doing this? But he liked it, so it was like, okay. So and I would always ask him to tell me about it, and it was like they didn't really do that much because he just totally placed them there. I don't know. I don't think I could play in a game like that. And then the other, I have friends who play in a store. I shouldn't say. Well, it's just they tell me, okay, so their DM can't handle them going in his head. He has a story. If they try to veer off it, he just doesn't let them, or he punishes them by just having them get lost in the woods until they go back to where they're supposed to go. And to me, that's like not a good way. It's scary. Like when the group goes off of the railroad or your plans, it's scary. But I think it's wrong as a DM to punish them by making it boring, because the whole point is to have fun, right? But so for me, what I eventually learned and what worked for me was when the group does something like way out there, I'll say, okay, why don't we take like a 5 or 10 minute break? and go pee or whatever. And you can
Mhm.
come up with so much in 5 minutes. It's amazing,
Mhm.
and and all you got to do is get through that session. So you just brainstorm enough. Okay, they're going to go here. So what happens and what blah blah blah. And you
Mhm.
can scratch it up real quick and get through the session. And at the end of the session, you say, okay, what are you going to do next time? Tell me so I can prepare, and tell them you got to
Mhm.
stick to this. So decide now, please.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I can make sure it doesn't suck, right?
Yeah.
And as long as your players trust you,
Yeah.
that you're not, he wants to know, because if you get into that weird thing where the group's like,
Yeah.
don't tell him, your game, it's bad. Your game gets
Yeah, because
ruined.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's not that the DM just wants to prepare. It's like the DM's
Right.
not trying to like
Yes,
screw you.
please
The
help
DM
us.
just wants to know what you're gonna do next time.
But there are some DMs who
Yeah.
do that, that
Mhm.
will and that's why I always kind of like wince when I read people talking about players are planning and you listen to their plans and you steal their good ideas, because once
Yeah.
they catch you doing that, they're going to stop talking and they're going to
Hmm.
whisper, and it
Yeah.
gets real weird and real lame. So like when I'm playing, when I hear a player come up with a good idea, I'll stop and go, that's awesome, do you guys want to do that? And if they don't want to do it, then we just won't do it.
Mhm.
But I think like that's so it's like there's all these tricky things. Like that's why the railroad is so easier for a DM, because
Mhm.
you got it all right there, and you're ready and you're good to go, and you feel confident that it's gonna be good,
Mm.
But when
Oh
they
yeah.
shoot off the side and you're pulling, I don't know if you guys ever had a session where it's like you had to make it up on the fly and you
Yeah.
had nothing. Yeah, it's
You know,
horrible.
I've only DM'd since January,
It's like you start
and
to
I've
like
had
like
at least 10.
It's
you start to
horrible.
think. You have to like kind of like shoot like to your mind. It's like what monsters are these? Like, I can't look
Exactly.
through the book. It's like what monsters do I know that they can fight?
You end
You
up
know,
like filibustering with,
I I ran one in my Planescape campaign.
uh,
I had just run Chris Perkins' Umbra adventure, and they
Mm.
had gotten her out, and they were like, "So you've been locked in that towers for like a year? Okay, we're gonna just give you a tour of Sigil." And I just threw away my notes, and I was like, "Okay, let's do it."
Yeah.
And it actually worked pretty well. Like
Yeah.
I was surprised how well it worked. Like, because the players told me at the beginning, okay, we want to go here, and we want to go here, 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 and we're just gonna go all the way around the city. And I was like, okay, I can do that. Sure.
it's like this. It's just like, especially if you're a new DM, it's like a terrifying feeling.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah.
like, there's such
yeah.
a responsibility on your shoulders. Like when you run a
Mhm.
game, like it's your job to be ready, and it's your job to
Mhm.
make a good game. And it's like so scary when it's like all of the stuff, all the tools you had to help you do that can't be used. It's
Mm.
like freak out, like cold
Yeah.
flop sweat, like you're a comedian telling jokes and they're not funny, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's like
Lord.
it's brutal,
Yeah.
and so it's
I'm-
like it takes a
yeah, I remember-
long time to get to a point where I think the more you play with the same people
Mhm.
Mhm.
and the more you understand the way they do things, like,
Mhm.
oh, he's gonna like this and he's gonna want to go do this, that's when it
Yeah.
gets easier. The more you play
Yeah.
with your players, the more you understand, and the ones that love their characters, that's where it gets kind of easy, because you can kind of like you can almost fill a session by just shutting your mouth. I can't do it, but you could. Chris is great at it. He just shuts up, and if you have players who like to play their characters, they'll fill an hour and
Mhm.
it'll go by like that, and you haven't
like-
done anything. So
It's just like you just throw something in the group circle and just let it go. It's like, yep, that's it.
yeah,
Still in Training's house.
yeah, and then I'm getting way off topic here, but that's one of the things I like about Dice Camera Action.
Mhm.
Studying what Chris does. That's what.
Yeah.
That's.
I was gonna say, I remember in the DM experience column that Chris used to write,
Mhm.
he sort of went into the railroading / sandbox thing.
Mhm.
And his advice was always have the 3 storylines
Mhm.
type thing. Like, oh, I
Mhm.
have Vecna, the Sea King, and yada yada. And if my players don't want to do that this week, they can go over here, and then go over
Mhm.
here, and then do this and this and that, and they can choose whichever one they want to pick. But they're still,
Mhm.
rails technically.
Yeah.
They just get to choose which one to go on.
Yeah. I'd love to see like a list, like a season of like his player session notes, just to see where.
Well, he
He-
said
he-
he said he just I think he said it a few weeks ago. All he does, he has a piece of paper. He writes down
Yeah.
the NPCs
Mhm.
and a couple sentences. And,
Yeah.
like that's about it. Monsters.
But yeah, like to see where that improv comes in, and what if there's anything in specific, just like none of this is relevant.
But
You know, I had to just kind of make it up.
he says he thinks about it a lot during the week.
Hmm
Do you guys do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's always kind of running in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're kind of always working on it, sort of. But you know what? It gets hard when you run more than one game a week. You know.
Oh yeah. When you have multiple characters, like also it's just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
think.
To a degree, it's like, am I spreading myself thin, or am I doing a disservice to my players by splitting my attention this way? But I haven't felt like it affects. This hasn't been really that bad. But when
No.
he talks about that, I do think about that. Like, he's
Mhm.
mulling over this game all the time. These 4 characters are running around in his head, and
Mhm.
all of his attention is going towards this one thing. And it should. I mean, it's a show. It's like a big show,
Mhm.
and he's giving it his full attention. I think that's really cool.
Mhm.
And I think it's weird. If I was him, I would over prepare. Like, I'd throw in 2 bajillion things at the group, but he
Yeah.
seems to have a really good sense of how much is too much. You know,
Mhm.
he doesn't overload them. I mean, each episode is basically one fight and some
Mhm.
stuff. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, to me as a DM, I would be panicky with having that little material ready to go. I mean, he probably has more, but it works really well.
Yeah. It definitely helps to write the books too.
Do you all run
Wow.
sessions that are, how long are your sessions?
Ooh.
Like 4 hours.
4.
It changes.
Mine usually go 3.5. Usually.
What
Mine
about-
tend to go 4 to 5.
It honestly depends on my players,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
some players are just like, yeah, we can stay all night. Let's do it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh god, well, I can run
Yeah.
like a 3-hour session. That's fine. But yeah, I'm not, I'm not gonna run
Yeah.
forever.
4
And
hours.
then other
seems-
times they're like, okay, we gotta leave in 2 hours. Let's do this. You know.
I think it's easier if you run a session that's like 2 hours or an hour and a half.
Hmm.
Much
Mhm.
easier. 4 hours is like, you're really, it's a lot.
It can
Yeah,
fry you.
My voice goes out like after a while. It's the more talking than I think I do like in like a couple days at once. So
Really?
it's just like my voice just is so bad after that.
Cactus Mongrel, what do you think the next big magic item weapon would Strix be getting in the future?
Oh.
Since she doesn't have much.
Ooh.
Not big, but I want her to have a wand of smiles.
Aw.
Oh,
Like,
Wand of
because
Smiles.
if it fails, it becomes into a wand of scowls and vice versa.
I would like to see her get a staff of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
'cause
I love the idea of Strix becoming like a super archmage.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
I think her staff is super. I think that's the thing that would probably be a next like upgrade, be her staff or something happen to her staff. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
have
such an important thing to her.
Have her staff become an artifact. That would be
Mhm.
cool. Or they infuse spells into it somehow. That would be really cool.
Be really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, she could use magic robe. Well, or does she have magic robes? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Don't
What's-
think so.
I don't think so.
I thought somebody somewhere had the one where there's all the pockets in it and you can pull out
Hmm.
stuff.
That-
Probably
I
not.
don't remember.
I don't think she has that, but it's as long as it's mundane things, she's fine.
Well.
Yeah.
She should have some kind of trash related item. I
Hmm.
think,
Yeah.
Maybe.
like a trash summoner of some kind. You can summon garbage and drop it onto people. I would love it if there was like a demi-plane of trash that she could go to. That would be
Oh
really
my
cool.
god. Yeah.
She could be
Maybe
queen of
oh
the
gosh.
garbage people.
Maybe when she
Yeah.
gets to a high level, she can take like the demi-plane spell and just make her own.
Ah.
Yeah, the demi-plane of freaking trash. Where
You
all the
said demiplane, and I instantly went to demiplane of dread, and it made me wonder if
Oh.
Strix's demiplane of dread was like sparkling clean at all times.
It would be.
Oh.
What a nightmare.
It'd have rainbows in it.
Oh.
Oh, it's everything.
Strix's demiplane of dread is Evelyn's heaven.
Yeah.
Her demi-plane of dread would be like when Evelyn died.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hello. Let's see. Robe of the Archmage. Yeah, that would be a very good item.
Would be.
Remember when they were stuck
Robe
in
of many things.
Remember when they were stuck in the same initiative for 4 to 5 weeks?
I do.
Yes.
Iron
I remember that.
Slag.
I remember that.
Is that what that
very
was?
well.
Yeah, this
Wow.
is Iron
Yeah.
Slag.
Because it was so
Freaking fire
stressful. It was
giants
stressed for like
And
6 weeks.
salamanders.
They were so out of their depth. I mean, just as far as character level, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
were tough monsters that they had to deal with.
Ugh.
There were so many of them too. It was like, oh.
Well, that was the whole thing with Storm King's Thunder, like that Chris brought up when they were like first announced it. You're not actually supposed to fight the giants like straight up. You're supposed to like trick them or go in stealthy and grab stuff. Or
That was the plan.
that was the plan.
I mean, still.
Well,
most
the
plans
part
don't
that
go well.
really I mean, the bad guy had that maul, and on the end of it was a cage, and in it was
Yeah.
a dwarven prisoner, and he was dangling the guy over lava. I mean,
Mhm.
at that point, if you're a good aligned character, I mean,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? That's a tough spot. So
Mm.
I don't blame them for breaking stealth mode, because
Yeah.
I would have broke stealth mode too. What
Yeah,
are you
same.
gonna do?
It's not.
I mean, because that's such a tough situation, because it's like, how do you save that guy?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
in general, if you're a low level character, how do you save that guy? I guess feather fall and then lasso him and pull him over as he's falling. But I mean, you're
Maybe.
gonna get spotted, So
Mhm.
that's a really tough situation. That was I felt like that was one of the toughest situations that they were ever in.
Yeah, that was.
Mm.
The only thing worse would have been one of them getting trapped in it and then getting slammed into the lava. That would have been
Oh no.
that would have
When
been
he
like,
slammed
okay,
him-
the DM is just being,
I
Go-
mean, DF
go.
was in it for a
He
minute.
wasn't. Yeah, yeah.
come on,
People got like knocked unconscious several times in that initiative thing. It was.
Evelyn almost became soup.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. A deck
I
of many
saw-
trash. That's a
That'd be a good item.
epic.
I saw in the chat that people were talking about the Stone of Galore,
Mhm.
and how the Dark and Dicey crew had it, and how they said that the Stream of Many Eyes was like a simultaneous thing. So they were wondering if Diath could even like find it.
I do. Yeah. I don't know
And
what it
The
is.
Stone of Galore has a mind of its own. It just does its own thing.
Yeah.
It could show up.
I think it probably could, because in Rivals of Waterdeep, which is also part of that whole thing, they did find the Stone of Galore.
Mhm.
So it was a fun thing for the Stream of Many Eyes, but I'm sure Chris will throw it in if he wants to.
It plays havoc with like continuity stuff, trying to figure out where
Yeah.
those things are.
You
It
know.
really does.
It's-
I did see it mentioned though that people who watch our watch Dark and Dicey are like, just have Kaiji be a guest star playing Google MacGuffin.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fun.
That would be pretty awesome.
that would be really cool, I think. This Google is so good.
Oh, so Brooks Donahue was the guest star on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we learned that he runs a LARP in LA.
Taylor, yeah.
Post-apocalyptic LARP.
Those are fun.
So it's like, all right, he said it was like that movie with the
Starship
aliens.
Troopers.
Yeah. So do people play the aliens in that?
Yeah, I think people play both
Hmm.
for like LARPs.
Do they have like big monster costumes?
It depends. It depends. It could just be like they're not. They could just be like abstracted and stuff like that, but I've seen it both ways on there.
And he said something else too. What was the other thing that he did? I thought he had 2 plugs. Oh, he's gonna be on Reddit. That's what it was. for the
Yeah.
AMA.
Oh, for the AMA.
EMA.
Yeah.
I thought he was a
That's
good
it.
guest. He was really cool. He seemed like a really
Mhm.
like a fun person. Yeah, just
He played his character really well.
yeah,
Mhm.
he did.
I liked this Spinnerai.
Yeah, and
I think so.
had a whole
Cactus
backstory
says-
that sort of came spilling out right at the end there.
Yeah,
Kind
that was
was an interesting this character cares about the kids. That's
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to.
Was Narai? I was kind of wondering, is Narai someone he made, or was it?
He said that
I don't know.
Jeff made him, if I remember correctly.
Jeff?
I remember the name Jeff. That's all I've got.
Jeff
Huh.
made him. I don't know.
Though I could be completely wrong.
Maybe.
All right. I thought Chris was going to give Strix a staff of bird calls when he said he made the staff for Holly. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
When he was giving him all the little Xanathar's gifts, like the Cloak of Billowing, I thought for sure Holly's was going to be a staff bird calls.
But I mean, Strix
makes
can make
sense.
bird noises. I mean, she can make
Yeah.
birds, so she's special
Yeah.
chickens and stuff. So
I says, can we talk
Oh.
about the Beholder teasing Paulton? That
Oh, yeah.
was
Magic mouse.
that was Paulton's like Nate's
I'm
lyrics.
not
Is that
what
what
you
that was?
want,
That's
but
what
I'm
it was?
exactly what you need. Take a bite and feed your satisfaction guarantee.
That's what it is. The Beholder didn't sing it like that though.
No.
Yeah.
I was doing the actual song there.
Very nice, Rena. Very nice.
So I don't, the magic mouth, was that the Xanathar communicating to them? What was that?
I don't.
Oh
I
no.
think it
know.
was Perkins, but it was Xanathar.
Maybe
was-
maybe the Xanathar has one of Nate's CDs. You
Yeah.
know.
Is it possible that the Xanathar?
I'm a big fan.
Is it possible?
I love your work.
Maybe the Xanathar can also break the fourth wall because he's crazy.
Maybe.
Oh man.
Maybe he's engaging with him on that level.
I mean,
Through
CDs.
Paulton and through, it's like get Nate's signature pulls.
Lord.
So
Fake.
maybe the Xanathar has heard the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
maybe,
knows the deal.
maybe Stilgar like whispers weird fourth wall breaking stuff to him. Everybody thinks he's crazy, but the goldfish, he knows all about the real world.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Maybe it's all connected to. I think there was one Acquisitions Inc. show where they actually met Perkins. Maybe that started a chain of
Yeah.
events
Yeah.
that is slowly, I don't know, culminating. in
Also,
something.
what was it? Anna's character in Birdcage finds real world objects like records and stuff like that. So it could be one of those things.
Ooh, all right, we're out of time, so we're gonna wrap it up with some plugs. Dylan, you got any plugs?
Yeah, this Thursday on the Greyhawk channel, I will be in Sean's Secrets of Castle Greyhawk game at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, playing Gundar of Arkstone. We leveled up, and we're gonna do some downtime and maybe go to level 3 of D&D's original dungeon. Ooh. And then let me see. Saturday we might do stuff on Sean's channel, Power Square RPG. And then Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on J.E. Briggs 79, we're going to be finishing up Lisa Chin and Will Doyle's little module, Rats of Waterdeep, which I'm really excited about. First part was really fun.
Cool. Rena, you got any plugs?
On Sundays usually, hopefully soon again because it's been a few weeks. I'll be on Dungeon Academy. I have yet to name the hamster that apparently is in my room now.
He's waiting for you.
We'll be figuring that one out. Also, I'm recapping Dark and Dicey. I am behind, and I apologize for that, but I'm catching up, and so soon, I promise. I think that's it.
All right, Shauna, you got any plugs?
Yep. 6:30 Eastern Time. Saturday. Beyond Sean's playing. Finishing up Leviathan Wakes, the DM's Guild adventure on Saturday 6:30 on Power Square RPG, and then on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Eastern, it'll be Hell's Bells on D&D channel. Hopefully more fun. Hopefully less traumatizing stuff happens this week. Little taste of Waffle Crew stuff happened to us, so
Wee woo.
maybe stuff that's in the basement. Maybe, who knows?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So, any other plugs, Shauna?
I think it's it. No, that's good.
Yeah. So I've been working on. Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it, but I do the Dice Camera Action wiki, and actually the episode 104 is done. I just have to post the link to it, and then you can mess with it if you want to. And I'm working on a Hell's Bells wiki, and that's I've got all the shows up. I've got some more episodes to link up, but that should be done in the next few days, and I'll post a link to that on my.
We kind of made it
site.
hard last time. We gave magic items like 14 magic items in one day. So
You did.
Yeah.
It was cool
That's a
though.
lot.
I made like little charts. It was cool. And tomorrow I'll be on the Greyhawk channel, Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains, at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be playing my Gitzerai. And then Thursday I'll be running Secrets of Castle Greyhawk on the Greyhawk channel at 1 p.m. Eastern with the Iron Dabbers. And I'm looking at joining a Friday game.
Ooh.
So I might have news on that. I've been talking with some people. And then, Saturday I'll be running games on Power Score RPG. We'll finish up to Wake of the Leviathan. And if everybody can make it, we'll do another Tomb-related adventure. Sunday we'll do Dungeon Academy on this channel at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. They're going to go into the Phlogiston, part of Spelljammer, which is outside the universe. It's this flammable rainbow river. And then, and then also on Thursday, 7 p.m., this will re-air right before Trapped in the Birdcage. I will be in the chat blabbing away. So, there you go. And also, I ordered one other thing. Maz, the DM of Hell's Bells, they put an NPC, a mana drone, on the show called S43N, which I guess is Sean me, right? So I have an NPC mana drone, and its name is M4ZZ, right? And I actually got a hand puppet for it that Maz made for me.
Rad. Oh yeah.
And sent
Yes.
to me.
Yes.
And so I'll be using that probably this Saturday.
Oh
Sweet.
gosh.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So
Really
there might
don't
be
need-
a monodrone on Hell's Bells spouting Shift Spice propaganda, but now I have a monodrone that can
The
break
war.
through the fake news and tell you the truth about how Shift Spice is supposed to be dealt with. All right?
That's right.
You don't have to worry about. You have to worry about that group abusing it. Don't worry about House Post abusing. Worry about like Ramron abusing it.
Yeah, really. Actually, on Hell's Bells, S34N actually was like loaded up with confetti now, which I think is really awesome.
It's filled with
So,
junk. Yeah, it's
yeah.
he's
all right, so everybody, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week, and if you're watching on Thursday, Trapped on the Birdcage is starting right now. So we'll see you all later. Thanks a lot.